Greetings, fellow wastelanders, and welcome to my settlement tour of Coastal Cottage. I have actually built a settlement at Coastal Cottage once before, but that was long before I was doing settlement tour videos. I have linked to my blog post about that settlement below, and if you take a look, you'll see my style was very different back then. This build represents my current style and skill set. This build was done on a PlayStation 5 using the Fallout 4 Game of the Year edition, which includes DLCs such as Nuka World and Far Harbor. I do not use any building mods, however, I do have Creation Club creations installed, so you will see some CC skins in my build such as on clothing and power armor. However, I do not use any actual CC build objects in this settlement. If you have any questions about how something is done in this video without mods, please feel free to ask in the comments below and indicate a timestamp. Apologies up front for some of the frame rate drops you'll see as we tour this settlement. This build represents 3 size bars worth of building, so I taxed the memory of my PlayStation, as I often do. To borrow a phrase from one of my favorite builders, Sardeliak, Coastal Cottage is actively hostile towards no mods building. The house you find here is mostly destroyed and restoration is difficult. There are objects littered around the settlement that you cannot scrap, and the terrain can be described as uneven at best. Don't let the chill-sounding name fool you. Coastal Cottage is a challenge to a no-mods builder. As we head up this steep hill, we see a guard tower next to a giant container that cannot be scrapped without mods, so I wound up building around it. This settlement is meant to be an outpost for the Railroad and Minutemen, so you'll see the guards are a mix of Minutemen and Railroad heavies.
Yes? I hope you realize how much you did for us.
This guard tower is a hodgepodge of parts from the wood, metal, and scaffolding sections, and includes a small area at the bottom for the guards to rest. There are also enough turrets to dissuade attackers who try to come up the hill. As we walk by yet another unscrappable container, we come to the workshop. This is one of the pre-existing buildings at the settlement that you cannot scrap. I decided to barnacle an addition to the front to expand the building. This is also where the primary power reactor for the settlement is located.
You know what I call a good day? One that ends without an empty stomach.
This expanded front area has a cooking and dining section for settlers to eat and rest. The inside is where the sole survivor stores her power armor and sleeps. The other side of the workshop has turrets and a guard station set up, since attackers can spawn from the back of the settlement. I mentioned earlier that there is a wrecked house at the settlement when you arrive. I assume this is the cottage referred to with the name Coastal Cottage. This house was a beast to restore. Among the challenges are that most of it is simply missing. The house is also not the standard length and width of the floor pieces in the build menus, so there was glitching necessary to get them to fit. And then there's the infamous giant hole under the house, which originally had a truck in it. On top of that, there's piles of trash you can't scrap inside. Well, I found ways to deal with all these challenges. Let's take a look. My goal was to rebuild the interior into a communal space. Here, settlers can gather and cook and eat and relax. The floors were glitched in using the campfire glitch, sometimes overlapping floor pieces to make them fit, and I raised the floors a bit so they would cover up some of the garbage that you can't scrap. I did not want the house to look too boxy, so I added this piece on this side as a living area and to help make the shape a bit irregular. This spot right here is where the infamous hole in the ground was. There was a truck embedded here when you arrived, but fortunately you could scrap it. But that leaves a hole, so what is one to do? If we take the rug away, we'll see that it was hiding a trap door. The trap door is in the defense section of the build menu. In my story, this is how settlers can hide synths before helping them out of the Commonwealth. They can hop through this door, then rest in this metal prefab structure before being escorted out of the area. Shout out to No Respawns, who made one of the first videos I ever saw pillar glitching this metal prefab in this hole. Okay, let's head back up. Alright, we've put our rug back in place. Now let's check out the second floor.
It smells, but in a good way. I hope you realize how much you did for us.
Up here, we have a training area for settlers to work out and keep in shape. This floor took a lot of glitching to get the floors and walls set up and fitting properly. This level also doubles as an office space.
Is this what the old world smelled like? Weird. like weird. Yes?
Seems to be growing well.
On this side, you'll see we have our water purification area. Since there are no bodies of water in the confines of the settlement build borders, you need to use water pumps for purified water. Next to them is an area for the maintenance person to store supplies that they need to keep the pumps working. Having these on the side of the house also adds to the scrappy feel of the house and keeps the house from looking too boxy in shape. Up here, we have a small rest area and a farming area where the settlers also store exotic plants they gather from different parts of the Commonwealth and Far Harbor. These are the living quarters for two of the farmers, with some yummy pink paste.
Farming's as honest as honest work gets.
That couch I'm passing by can't be scrapped. Go figure. Up here, we have another guard tower with its own independent power supply. I built this here because attackers can sometimes spawn from this side, so I wanted a set of turrets and a guard ready to deal with them. What ails you is the settlement Gastropub. I rarely use this Christmas tree build object, so I figured it would be fun to set up here. And yes, there are more cats than you could shake a stick at here. Upstairs is where the staff who run the bar live.
So damn hungry. Maybe I'll get another drink.
In case you're wondering, that giant teddy bear on the floor is the one that you find in the bus near Egret Tours Marina. The Chill Pill Clinic is where settlers go to get their medical needs met. Outside is one waiting area with another one inside.
Soda's free.
Another day of hard work. Never changes.
I wanted to make sure there was a bath area somewhere in the settlement. You'll just have to use your imagination, pretend all those weeds aren't sticking out of the tub. There are also two restrooms here, one larger than the other. So great is the general shop for the settlement run by a hebologist. He takes a cut of his profits, and then he sends them back to his fellow hebologists in Nuka World. Captain Cook's is a riff on a restaurant with a similar name that used to exist in my area. This is an outdoor seafood bar specializing in dishes made from mirelurk meat and fish.
It's coming in pretty good.
And finally, we have our third guard station, which includes a weapons workbench. I love the shape of this particular metal structure, so I like to use it whenever I can in a settlement. And that is my tour of Coastal Cottage. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you thought this video was cool, please consider subscribing. Kind comments are always appreciated. If you have any questions about something you have seen in this video, please leave a comment below, including a timestamp, and I'll do my best to answer them in a timely manner. Special thanks to my patrons on Patreon, who support my activities on Ben's World of Transformers and allow me to create these videos. Until next time, stay safe in the wasteland.